the tour. Y'all got any questions?
Smells damp down here though.
All right, the first thing I do is I look for a troublemaker. He's pointing at you. Usually the one that's pointing is the troublemaker.
You got that right.
All right, now you guys in the back row, y'all can stand up. You can lean on the railing or sit on the railing. Now when we get to the other side, these guys are going to have to turn around. All right, that's just the way it has to work out. All right, before anyone can go underground, the mines has to be what we call firebossed by a certified person. Someone comes in early, checks for methane, carbon monoxide. We take a look at the roof and the rib to make sure everything's safe. We don't have to do that here because we don't produce coal, but we still do. Every morning one of us comes in early and does those checks. We got date boards throughout the mines. We'll put our date and initial on there. Now I'm going to show you how they mined coal back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Now I wasn't around then, guys. Come on, give me a break now. Today's coal miners are wearing a strap with a battery. It's mostly all remote control. This mines was a pick and shovel all the way. There was never any electrical equipment ever used in this mines. We're going to show you some on the other side, but it was never used here. This mines went under the city of Beckley for about 7 miles in diameter. Now they had to take a pick and pick out this coal and shove it on these cars. This coal seam, 28 inches high. That's what they were working in. They wasn't standing up like me. They were working in 28 inches of coal. I'll explain it to you more as we go on up. As we go on up, the coal seam goes up to about 32 inches in places. The company made their miners work 12-hour shifts. They demanded that they hand load 10 tons of coal in 12 hours. That's 10 of these cars. If they didn't do it, they'd lose their job. A lot of times they brought their teenage son in to help them get their quota. Once the car was loaded, they didn't have direct deposit. They had a piece of wood with a number on it. That number corresponded to their name outside. That's how they knew who to pay. Now they were thieves back then like they are today. A lot of times the car would go outside and somebody'd steal that wood and put it on their car. And this poor guy wouldn't get paid. So finally they put the wood in the car first, then they loaded the car up. And when it got unloaded outside, they knew who to pay. I brought y'all in on a 1930 model locomotive. Now back in those days, they had track, but they didn't have electricity underground. How did they drag these cars out of the mines back in those days?
Mule?
Mules, horses, donkeys. They even used dogs to drag these cars outside. Has anyone seen the movie Coal Miner's Daughter?
Yes.
All right, that's the way it was. Everybody lived in a coal camp. Every coal camp had a company store. Maybe you've heard the song, 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. That's the way it was. They bought all their food, clothing, medicine, tools. Everything had to be purchased at the company store. Even the houses they lived in were rented from the company store. If a coal miner got killed back in those days, the company gave the family 3 days to move out so another family could move in. Each week, the miner went to the company store and withdrew what's called script. He might go in and ask for about $20 worth of script. If he went over that, they would deduct it from their pay. They were in bondage to the company store. Now, I've got a LED light on my cat. They didn't have LED lights back then. They didn't have LED lights back then. They started out with a teapot and a can of kerosene. They'd empty that kerosene into the teapot. It would fit on their cat. They would ignite it. It'd be an open flame. Now, what's going to happen if that flame happens to hit a pocket of methane? It'll be a pop. A lot of methane, there's going to be an explosion. This light only lasted about 3.5 hours. They'd have to relight it again. All right, guys. Y'all bear with me here just for a second. All right. After the teapot, they came out with what's called a carbide lamp. This is carbide, this is water. When you mix, don't worry about that noise. I had a lady yesterday start screaming right here. Let me out of here, the roof's falling in. What it is, that guy's leaving out with another crew of people is what it is. This is carbide, this is water. When you mix water with carbide, it forms like a settling gas. Anybody ever welded? You see the gas coming out of there?
Cool.
Oh.
Super cool.
Are you a great grandfather?
Yeah,
Probably knows all about this.
yeah.
All right. Now, how would you like to work a 12-hour shift with a light like this?
Heck no.
That's all they had. Each coal miner had to carry a can of carbide with him. If they were lucky, this light might last 4 hours. They'd have to relight it again. If they ran out of water, they had to try to use their spit to relight it. And like I said, if it happens to hit a pocket of methane, there's going to be a pop or an explosion. All right. All right, guys, I want to show everyone how dark it is underground without any light. All right. Over the years, my light went out plenty of times. One time my light went out, took them about 30 minutes to find me. I had one major problem, one major concern. And it wasn't going to the bathroom. I don't have to have a light to go to the bathroom. I had one big problem. Who can tell me what it was?
Caverns.
What's that?
Caverns.
Well,
Holes.
well, I had to worry about a rat crawling on me.
That was my answer for it.
Yeah.
I'll let somebody else guess that.
Yeah. Y'all came here to hear about those rats? I'm gonna tell you all about them on the other side over there.
Be on contract strike, when you're back to work, you're sitting there, you had to have your rat back.
Yeah.
Stick with a rock tape on the end, cause they tried to take your lunch.
Yeah, this is ex-coal miner right here.
That's just the way it was.
We're gonna talk about that on the other side over there too. Now this is a flame safety lamp. We used to use these in the old days. They did away with them, mid-70s or so, because of that flame. You could take this lamp and put it a foot from the roof. If the top of that flame turns blue and elongates, that means you're in methane gas. They didn't have any way to check back then. We also used to use this for what's called low oxygen or black damp, we call it. You'd be walking along, and it happened to me plenty of times. That flame starts to go out or goes out, you don't have enough oxygen in front of you to survive. They didn't have any way to check back in those days.
You backed up.
Today, they use a spotter. All you do is push a button. It'll give you a methane check and a carbon monoxide check. We use an anemometer to check for air readings. Now, they had one way to check for low air and methane back in those days. That's what it was right there.
No Harry. No bird.
I asked somebody the other day, what kind of bird is it? He said a dead bird.
That's it.
He gave me trouble with a whole tour, too. Now, this one's had its better days right here. Now, tell me, where did they buy the canary? Company store. Where'd they buy the material to build the cage? Company store. They'd go to work, they'd set the canary right there, and they'd start picking and shoveling. But that canary was chirping and singing something like, almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge, everything's fine. If it's laying flat on its back with its legs up in the air, it's only a matter of time before it's going to get you. These canaries saved a lot of coal miners' lives back then. Do we have any mathematicians on here? All right. Oh, they done pointed at you now. The other day I asked this question. I had a teacher taught college math in New York. I asked her this question. I'm telling you the truth. She got her phone out trying to figure out the answer. And she never did get it right. It's not that hard. Back in those days, they worked a 12-hour shift. They had to mine 10 tons of coal. They only made 20 cents a ton. So how much money did they make in a day's time? 20 cents a ton at 10 tons. $2. Then they had to spend $5 or $6 every so many days just to pay for a little shack they lived in. Today's coal miners make anywhere from 85 to a little over 100,000 a year. Now, guys, we're gonna go to the other side over there. I'm gonna give you the next step to coal mining. They're still gonna be using a pick, but they're gonna be doing one thing different. We're gonna slowly progress, if you want to call it that. Watch your head. Excuse me. Watch out for the little bat that flies around, and we'll go to the other side of it.
I have a question.
Okay.
How close together were the miners? Like, would only one person be working
Okay.
in this one section, and that one person have a canary? Like, everyone had their own canary?
I'll answer that question
Oh,
right
okay.
over here where we're
Okay.
going. You're going to see their actual work area right over
Okay.
here. All right.
Thank you.
But I'm glad you asked questions. Sometimes we do these tours and the whole time the people's like this. Why they coming for, you know? Anyone heard of that country singer Brad Paisley?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, he shot a video underground. They shot it right there last fall, right in that area.
Oh, cool.
You guys are gonna go that way.
So you see these stacks right here? That's called cribbing stack. That's called cribbing stack. I built them inside of tanks. This right here.
Okay, now you guys, y'all can slide down back there if you want to. Not you guys, these guys in the back row, if they want to. Y'all can too if you want. All right. Now over there,
No, I'm good.
over there, they were picking the coal down. Now they're still using a pick, but they're doing something different. Now, instead of picking down, they're laying on their side, picking in, 3 feet in, all the way across. Now that's called an undercut. And this is their actual work area right here. Now why would they be doing an undercut? What are they gonna do different right there?
Let it fall?
How they gonna, yeah, blast it. That's who said that. Very good. They're gonna blast it down. It's gotta have a place to fall. After the undercut, they took that old breast auger and they drilled 3 holes. They reached in their pocket, they got out their little balls of black powder with their fuses, which from what I heard, they purchased those at the company store. They shoved the black powder in the holes. The fuse wires will be hanging down. Now back in those days, they had to go look for dirt and mud. Anything they could find to shove in behind that powder to make it real tight. That's called tamping it up. Now why would you do that?
So
To backfire.
In the coal and don't put it back out.
Backfire.
Back out the hole.
That's exactly right. If they didn't do it, the shot would go through the holes and the coal wouldn't fall down. After that, there'd be a cable going around the corner with a battery on it. They'd wire it up and they'd scream real loud, just like they do today. Fire, fire, fire in the hole. That gives everybody warning there's gonna be a blast. They blast the coal down, the old mule shoves the car up there, the guy shovels all the coal up. Process starts all over again. Now that's rock. Right there's rock. They would blast that rock down at night and get it out of the way if the animal didn't have enough room to work. They didn't care about the coal miner. If that animal didn't have enough height, they'd blast that rock down tonight and get it out of the way. In other words, if the coal seam wasn't high enough, and you can see it's not high enough right there. I happen to be a certified shop fireman. I've blown up a lot of stuff in 43 years. Now, I'm not a terrorist now, okay? But I've blown up like a roof over your heads for big equipment to go underground. I've put off as much as 300 shots at one time. We didn't have to go look for dirt and mud. We used these little sticks of clay. Is that what you use? Little clay dummies? You stick them in a hole and tap it in there. The reason we call them dummies because you got to be a dummy to go in that hole, knowing you're going to be blown up. All right, guys. Now this is called a punching machine. It says electric, but actually it was compressed air. The guy invented that. He thought he could do the undercut with it. They couldn't do it. It took 2 or 3 men to drag it around. The wheels got stuck in the mud every 2 or 3 inches, so that's where they left it. I'm gonna drift right over here to my buddy over here. All right, guys, so far we're picking the coal down. Now we're blasting it down, but they're still shoveling. Shoveling days are over. This is a 1929 model loading machine, electric, never used here. They'd blast the coal down and bring the machine up. Once the coal got right here, they'd turn these things on. They're called gathering arms. And what it does, it pulls the coal right into here. After that, what's underneath that coal right there? Conveyor chain. They turn, a belt would break, a conveyor chain. They turn that chain on, load that car up in about a minute. Shoveling days are finally over. They still use this type of equipment in one mines in Kentucky. Not quite this old, but this type. Today's machines cut the coal and load it all up at the same time. What we're showing you here is nothing like modern coal mining. This is called a scoop. The guy built it in his garage in 1963. He never got a patent on it. The coal companies copied his idea and made millions. Today's scoops are twice as wide, and some of those are remote control. That's a scoop bucket. It'd go up and down. You could push coal, clean the roadways. You can pull stuff with it. If you needed supplies, you tell the scoop man. We called him the gopher. He'd be the one to go for whatever you needed. Great piece of machinery, but they never got a patent on it. You think what we do is, it's hard for me to, if you don't care what we can do, we can take you out and one of you can come back in on the next ride and leave him out there, then the other can come in. You wanna do that? You think you're gonna be all right? Okay, let me finish the tour. Okay, buddy? All right, let's try it, all right? All right, back there. They were laying on their side doing the undercut. Now they've got what's called a cutting machine. It looks like a chainsaw turned over on its side. They'd turn it on, they could do that undercut just in a matter of minutes. No more laying on their side. That old breast auger back there, now they got a hydraulic drill. They drill it, take it real quick. So things are getting a little bit better. All right. All right. Now, what does this look like right here? All right. I tell you what we're gonna do. I'm gonna back y'all out, and what you can do, one of you, three of them come back in with me to finish the tour, and then the one that sets out with him can come back in. If you don't want to come back in, they'll give you money back. How's that sound? Okay? But the other three of you can come back in with me. All right, guys, y'all hold on a minute.